Okay, we are live. Hey everyone, welcome to today's live stream, another weekend, another interview. And if you're watching this video, like this live stream, after it's over, like I believe 200 to 300 people watch it, not live, maybe because of time constraint or whatever, then I hope you'll be able to find timestamps in the description. I'll try to get them up there as soon as I can, but if not, then just wait one more week and it will be there. And if you are joining us live, thank you so much, man. It's a good day. And today we have with us Sashrika Kaur. She is SDE intern at Flipkart, and well, she was her internship is over, but we'll talk all about that. And she's currently an undergrad student at IGDTUW, and she's done a few things, man. She's done a lot of things, really good stuff. She's received multiple scholarships, and she's also working with MLH Major League Hacking as a coach. So super excited. We'll get to know all about that. Let me invite Sashrika to the screen and we'll begin. Hey
Hi, I'm
Sashrika, what's up?
going. Oh, I'm
Hi,
doing good.
hi.
How are you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for asking. So, all right, man. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that so much. You're here sharing to share your story with us, and it's gonna inspire a lot of people. So, we'll just begin right away.
The pleasure's all mine, Abhishek.
Uh-huh. Okay, so first question that I always want to ask whoever's in tech is, why did you choose this field of computer science?
Computer science, so whenever you think about computer science, you say that, oh, all right, so I'll join computer science because I'm interested in software, or probably because you'd like to say that, I'm interested in how things work, the internal things here and there. But what I feel is when I first finished my high school as a young girl, so I just joined my university, and my first thought on joining computer science was to see the impact that it creates. See, technology is ever changing, and the amount of impact that it creates in just a single, you change one thing and you can see how it creates an impact on millions of others. That is what actually inspires me to work in this field and continue growing in this field. uh, so yeah, that is what my first thought was when I joined computer science, because that is something that was really important to me. And as for choosing computer science, once I got into it and choosing a career, making a career out of it, was only because, so whenever, this was the field which had a lot of opportunities for us to grow. So that is what actually pursue asked made me pursue this field even more.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's super interesting. And can you please tell us where did all of this start? Like, when did you start coding? Was it in school or after joining college?
So I did not start coding in my high school. In my high school, we were all in that race of making something out of JE, and then
Yeah.
figuring out where to go from there. And so that was all like a very different phase altogether. So I did not have that much interest in computer science back then. But I remember that once, in my university, I started attending these community events. So I think the first event that I attended, I saw, was the virtual F8 event, where they were talking about how virtual reality is changing everything around. And that is what actually, gave me a lot of perspective to things. And I envisioned myself as being a developer in that field. But all right, you have to start from somewhere, right? This is like the end goal, or probably somewhere down the line. But to start all of it, you need to understand how things work, what is the way through it. And for that, I started attending community events. I attended GDG, and there were different tracks there. I figured out what I wanted to do, and then I went from there. My university, I'm from Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University for Women. And when we began, it was not absolutely, it was not the same which it is now. So it was back then, the coding culture was not very prevalent as it is now in our university. And at that point of time, I was glad that the girls from my batch, they were really enthusiastic, and they're filled with zeal to do something, step outside of their comfort zones and try something altogether. So whenever we used to go out to these community events and network with people, we used to we used to actually see that there are a lot of opportunities there for people who would like to work in tech, and they would like to, folks would like to do more with their career and try out different things. just in their university days. And that's when we actually found all these amazing opportunities and all these amazing people who can actually we can actually network with and talk about our interests. So that was pretty cool. And that's how I started my journey there. I learned a few programming languages, so I got a hang of C++ and Java. And then I started working I on the Android development application development side, and I learned Kotlin, and that's how my journey began in computer science.
Uh-huh. Again, just wondering, what's your particular field of work in coding programming? What particular tech are you into?
So I'm a software developer, and that actually is a very broad term altogether, and it
Mm-hmm.
uh, like it has tons of different branches that you can be in. But my particular field would be in developing products. So I work on product design, product development, and my particular field would be Android application development, since I'm working with that for quite a lot time now. So I started in like my first year and second year beginning or sorts, and that's when I started working in this field. But yeah, it's an all expanding domain. But if I would describe it in like 2 words, it would be a software development uh, side of things. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sweet. And how did you choose this field? Like, there's all these different things that one could do. So, what fascinated you about, development, like Android particularly?
So okay, I remember that I went to this one GDG event which had like an Android track, an ML track, and then there was a web track. There were three different tracks. And when I first started, like as a newbie, everything was new to me. So it was like, okay, I don't know anything about all these three tracks. Why don't I just go in there and network with people and just see all the talks, figure out what I'd like to do further. So once I went into one of these tracks, I remember that in the Android track, there was a few talks that were going around and that had really great insights. And that's something that really interested me to, it was a really, it was like an altogether different experience, because when I went inside the talk, I somehow related to developing in that particular field more than any other track. So probably
Okay.
because of my mentor, so I talked to amazing people there, and they were all so helpful, and the community was really nice. And I remember that I entered into one of the tracks where it was like a house full hall. Harshit sir was giving his talk there, and that was pretty amazing. That was actually really inspiring when I saw him on the stage talking about these different advances that tech is making in the field of Android. And that was something that actually inspired me to explore the field a little bit more. So I came home, I tried out different things. I enrolled myself in an Android application development course, and I learned the nooks and crannies of all of the of
Right.
Android, and then started developing applications further. And
Uh-huh.
that's how,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, man. So, I'll just give a short and quick rundown of how it's going to be. So, because I see one question in the chat. So how it's going to be is first I'll ask Sashrika some questions, and then after that there'll be Q&A where you guys can ask any questions. So if you want to know anything, if you want to ask anything, note it down, and or you can just leave it in the chat. We'll scroll back up later on, but we'll do it in the Q&A. And I believe after that we will end the stream with a quick and fun rapid fire round.
Oh my god.
That's going to be fun. And if you guys don't know if there's anyone who is not from India, then let me tell you a bit about Flipkart. Flipkart is like one of the biggest e-com companies in India, and Sashika interned there. So yeah, now let's dive into that. So, what team did you work with at Flipkart? Now, just let me clarify this. She has completed her internship recently. How long did you work with at Flipkart?
I'm sorry, Abhishek, your voice broke a little. I'm not sure if that was just me or it was on the stream. Can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, yeah. So the question is, what team did you work with at Flipkart?
Yeah, so I worked with the UAG team, that is a user acquisition and growth team at Flipkart, and our main objective was to basically develop technical solutions to actually help customers be more engaged with the content that Flipkart creates. And my task would be the automation of operation services. So I used to work on that field. in Flipkart.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And how did you land this internship? Like, how did you apply for it? Was it off campus or on campus?
So this was an on-campus internship, and I visited my campus, I actually applied for it. They asked for my resume and they asked for my details. And once in, that's how I started. Like I got to know about this opportunity and I applied to it.
Okay. All right. And next question, can you please talk a bit about the different interviews that took place, like the hiring process of Flipkart?
Yeah, of course. I actually see a question right there
Yeah,
from
right.
Tushar. Can you tell us more about the Flipkart interview experience? Of course. So the thing is that Flipkart had an online round at first, which was a basic round. They asked about TS algo questions, and it was the basic TS and the algorithms that you already know. That is trees, TP, graph, stuff like that. And even on the interview rounds, so there were two interview rounds after that, and in both of those rounds, it was same based on TS algo. They ask you two questions. That's the general structure. They can even ask you three questions if they would feel like it. So that's actually more of a conversation-based thing when how the interview is going. And when they ask you a question, they actually expect you to provide them with all the different approaches you can think of to solve that particular solution and why you chose that particular solution over anything else that would have or like anything else that could have been the
Right.
possible solution to that problem. And after that, after these two rounds, there's another additional round. That's the final HR round that they conduct. And that's it. After that, they actually also on campus, we know about the results that day. But if you're off campus, that might take some time to get
Uh-huh.
back.
Okay. Yeah. Sweet, sweet. And then you got to know that, yeah, you got the internship. Good stuff.
Yeah, so that was actually pretty incredible. So when we got the internship, we were so happy. We are like, oh God, this was like an altogether incredible experience. From the start when you just sit
Right.
there, test, and then after the three interview rounds, and then that's okay. Now we're done, and we finally got the internship. So that was actually a pretty great experience for me too.
Yeah, and it's your first corporate internship, so it's super amazing
Yes.
that it's Flipkart, for the
Yeah,
first.
I was working with a few startups back then, but not a big corporate internship as such. So I
Mhm.
worked with startups, but then I interned with Flipkart, which was the first corporate internship.
Okay, sweet. And what kind of projects did you work on before joining Flipkart? Like that made your profile strong. What different projects did you work on?
Um, So, starting from the part where I figured out that okay, I wanted to work in the field of Android too, and I started developing projects in that field. I created two projects before Flipkart, and one was a personal project which I created to try out different. Basically try out different aspects of Android application development and try out how different things work. And that would have probably from a business perspective, I created that project. The other one was more of a team effort, and it was basically my first hackathon project, and that's when I started, going to hackathons and creating different basically projects from there. So the second products are actually my favorite one. So in that we actually created an application which was for basically it was to create chat rooms for to help. Basically, it was a psychological assistance module which actually helped different create
Okay.
chat rooms and help different people. Yeah. So that was pretty cool, and I created that application in like 24 hours, and it was like so rough, but I survived that, I suppose.
Yeah, no, we get it, man. And what was this hackathon, if you remember? Like
So
where was
this
it?
was Ultra Hack in New Delhi. Yeah, it was Ultra Hack, and yeah, it was my first 24-hour hackathon which I went to.
Okay, cool. And now let's talk a bit about scholarship programs. Like you have received a good number of scholarships, the Goldman Sachs and Women Tech Makers. So how do you apply? Any tips on how do you apply for these scholarships or increase your chances of getting selected?
So the thing about scholarships would be so okay. Let's say so you before applying to scholarships, you need to know what like the work that you've done in your tech career so far. Understand what you did and realize that the work that you did has created a lot of impact and was really important for you. So first tip that I would like to give to everyone when thinking about applying for scholarships is that, like, be sure to apply. Just don't think about it that way, that okay, I'll apply later, or maybe I'll try it
Totally.
next.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, because they're not like they don't they so the thing is that it's very common in the engineering field that we suffer from imposter syndrome a lot. I myself have been a part of this, and it ended when after my first WTM scholarship, I went to the Google retreat program, and that there I in that retreat they actually give you a lot of resources to help you out with all sorts of stuff. So my first advice would be that, okay, be sure to apply. All right, don't forget that whatever work that you've done in tech so far has created a lot of impact, and it's so important to you. You need to understand its importance, its sense, and then bring it out in your application. And why I'm saying that applying is so important is that you always see that, okay, I've won so many scholarships. So you see a person, you say that, okay, he's won 2 scholarships, or let's say 3 scholarships altogether.
Mhm.
But years before applying for those 3 scholarships, there are 100 others that they applied to and got rejected from. So
Yeah,
those
true.
steps that they got selected is the one that's highlighted in their profile. But I must tell you, okay, so I've applied to hundreds of other scholarships that I got rejected from. And that only made my application a lot better, because once you got rejected from a scholarship application, you understand, okay, you need to change your application and you need to work a little more in the field of tech. And then you need to realize what else that you can do that will make you a more strong applicant if you're aiming for the scholarships. You need to understand what a vision of, there's the scholarship is always made based on certain vision. They're looking for to help someone who's underrepresented and who's actually need of that scholarship. And that's how you aim for that. So whenever you're applying for scholarships, be sure that whenever you make an application, just remember that you understand why you're applying to that scholarship. You need to understand the sense of it before you go ahead and uh, you know apply to different ones.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, like, you just have to apply really. And I have seen a lot of students who think that they don't have to apply because of the imposter syndrome. And yeah, I think you just really have to go for it. I mean, the worst thing that will happen is maybe you won't get selected, but then again, you learn a lot. Like, what are some things that you need to work on? And, it's just a wonderful experience. And if you get in, well, things will change and you'll start to believe in yourself more. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
you need to understand why applying for that scholarship is so important for you, and that would bring out the best of your application. Be authentic, be live to it. Whenever you actually apply to a scholarship, you write about the essay or the articles, or you're applying from anything else. Just be sure to, bring out the best self, because that is the application that is defining you. The other person who's reviewing the application would understand what kind of work you've done in the field of tech, what kind of things inspire you, and what made you so inclined towards working in the field of tech. And that is how they'll know you. So just understand when you're applying for a scholarship, and you'll be good.
Yeah, totally. Okay, now next question. You're involved with MLH. So, how did you become a coach at MLH? From
So yeah, I'll start this part by saying that, all right, so this was again a hackathon story. I went to hackathon, and there's a lot of, so in all those hackathons, you get a lot of swag and stickers, and that's what like interests me. Okay, I need a sticker for my laptop. All right, so I
yeah,
got
yeah.
one that said MLH. Before that, I did not know what MLH was, and I was a beginner at hackathons. I did not know how to go around and work with that. But when I came back home and I searched, okay, all right, I got a sticker. Now, before adding it to my laptop, I need to know what it is. I searched about it. I found out that MLH is a company, Major League Hacking, which is based in US and UK, and they have this motto of inspiring hackers, empowering hackers with the right resources, and providing them a standard of excellence so that they can actually give them a more engaging experience. And that is when I realized, all right, this is an incredible company. I started following them. I started networking with the people who work at MLH or who are associated with the company. And I followed them on Twitter or maybe LinkedIn. And then I just
Mhm.
basically what kind of work they did. And that was back then when they were still a US and UK based company. So I did not know that it would be expanding to the APAC region. All I needed to know was that they did incredible work, and I need to, I follow them to actually be inspired so that I can do my own work. I can work in hackathons, and I can, organize better hackathons, or maybe participate as a hacker in a much empowered way. So basically, I started following them because of that. But once I found out that they are actually expanding to the APAC region, I quickly went on the website, scrolled down about the opportunities that I can be involved with them, because they had such a great vision, and that was a great company that I would like to be a part of. So that is when I started applying to I applied to become a coach, and after like 3 rounds of interview process, I got selected as a coach.
Sweet, sweet. That's amazing. Okay, and you are MLS coach, so I really want to ask you to tell the people that are the students that are watching right now how important are hackathons for a coder or for anyone, a designer, for a college student.
Oh, that they are actually very important. So everything that I've learned in my tech career was basically experimenting at different hackathons, and basically trying out different things at a hackathon. It's practically been my whole tech career, and now that I'm in MLH, it's like my whole life. So I'd say that it's very important, and more importantly, that if you're new to this, try and network with people and make a diverse team before you go. All right. So there are tons of people that you can talk to and learn what drives them to be at hackathons. You can learn about their experiences as a newbie, and what spirit that, like, basically that's the spirit of hackathon. All right. Everybody's ready to help. Everyone is there to engage and try out different things. So I was lucky enough to basically have great teammates. And basically, my first hackathon was amazing. So even though we did not win, we learned a lot of new things. And I couldn't be more thankful for the program, because they were experienced hackers and I was a newbie. So they actually helped me a lot with that stuff. Can you just excuse me for a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I'm speaking. All right. Yeah. So basically, I was lucky enough to have those great teammates in my team, and they helped me a lot to learn from their experiences. So they talked about how they applied to hackathons, they got selected, they won so many hackathons, and that's how we got engaged with them.
Okay. And yeah, guys, I would like to tell everyone that see, I always say to build a strong profile in tech, you have to focus on these four pillars. One is skills, and then experience, network, and influence. And hackathons are a really good place to work on all of these, especially the networking part. And other than that, free food, obviously, like, come on, man, who doesn't like free stuff? And the swag and the
Absolutely.
connections, like, yeah, it's a great place. And now I believe almost all hackathons are virtual, but still it's a great experience, man. So definitely attend them, and you'll see your profile growing up really fast. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And that would be an advice to the experienced hackers, all right. Always engage newcomers, and allow them to be a part of your team so that they can experience the community that hackathons provide. And that would actually help them to understand how things work, and they'd actually more motivated to pursue tech as a career. So it's very
Yeah.
important for them to feel more welcomed in the community.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and next question. I believe we've talked about a bunch of stuff. Now, next thing that I want to ask is how to prepare for a software engineering interview, according to you.
So there is no ideal way to prepare for a software engineering interview, but I'd tell you a little bit about what I did so that we can
Yeah.
talk. So what I did was that the thing that worked for me was to prepare a schedule, and then so there are a set of topics and data structures and algorithms which you need to be prepared and well versed with. So what I did was I took a topic, I did a few questions, and when I felt that yes, I got a hang of it, I moved on to the next one. So practicing questions is actually what makes you prepared, basically more prepared for the DS algo structure. And once we are near to the company's interviews, for example, like it's like in 2 3 days I have to give for an interview for a particular company, then I started doing company-wise questions which were available on GFG and LeetCode as well. So LeetCode is a interview with. These are a few sites that I refer to prepare for my software development interviews. And that's when I basically started doing mock interviews to understand how, to get that experience. So being an intern, this was like my first interview. And once
Yeah.
I started interviewing with different companies, I understand that it's not all together the same. So when you're coding on an ID, you have that edge. If you make an error, you just run the code, you see what's wrong, and then you fix it and you move on. But once you're actually coding on pen and paper, or let's say Google Docs, it's an altogether different experience. So mock interviews are really important before you actually interview for a company, so that they give you a hang of, okay, this was what the interview is going to be like, and you're prepared and you're well versed with the flow of the conversation that's going to happen. And then when you step up and finally give the interview for your dream company, it's all together like you're much more confident to do it. All right. And these are a few of the practices that actually help you be more confident once you apply and basically give an interview at the end. So if like I also like to read books. So books were something that actually helped me a lot to prepare for my interviews. And the two books that I referred to there was one which I took help from learning Java. That was Narasimha Karamanchi, and the other one was the Gail Lackman book, which is probably referred like 100 million times, the Cracking the Coding interview book. And they're actually pretty great books to help you with all of the structures, understanding the structures, their implementations and stuff. Apart from that, in some interviews, basically they also ask about operating systems or database management systems, or
Yeah.
basically OOPS concepts. So for that, I think that so our university had classes for that, and we were very well prepared. So what I did was just revise my concepts, my class notes a bit to actually be prepared for those type of interviews. But more or less, what you need to actually focus on is data structures, algorithms, and of course your communication skills. They're really important. So by practicing mock interviews, you get to cover all three and practice as much as you can before you go for an interview, so that you feel confident while interviewing.
Yeah, definitely. And you talked about communication skills. That's like really one of the most important things to be good at, because if you know stuff, that's okay. But if you cannot deliver it properly, then you're basically, effed up. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually. And
Yeah.
while interviewing, so some people actually forget that. So they actually think that, okay, interview would be more like a Q&A. The person would ask a question, and then you have to give an answer. And if you say wrong, oh my God, it's all down the drain. Now you cannot get back from that. That's not how an interview works. So in an interview, the interviewers are generally more friendly. They talk to you, they help you out, they drop you hints. Just catch those hints and, okay, think of it as a conversation. So if you think of it as a conversation with the interviewer, it'd be like solving puzzles altogether and not thinking about it as an interview. And that's what actually helps you succeed, if you just go with a clear head and then work around that.
Yeah.
So practice. Once you're in, just don't worry about anything else. That's what will actually help you to get through it.
Yeah, that's very true. And also, you don't have to like totally get to the exact solution. I mean, they're really interested in knowing how you're thinking. So then again, you should think out loud and really show them, sort of what your mindset is and how do you approach a problem. Like, you don't have to get to the solution. I mean, obviously, like if you do, that's really good. But again, if you're close to it, if they really see, okay, this guy thinks out of the box, or at least he's trying, then that's also really good impression. So yeah.
Yeah, effort counts a lot. They actually see that, okay, this person is trying, this person has a curiosity to learn and try
Yeah.
out different things. And that's something that they're looking for in a software engineer in their company. Not the ability to know everything, but the ability to learn if they don't do it.
Yeah, totally.
That
And since you're not a software lead or something, like you're just out of college, so they know what to expect from you, like what things you should be knowing. So okay, totally. And next question is, do you think that college GPA matters, and if yes, then to what extent?
Okay, so like this is like a question which depends on different companies though, but I'd say that it does not matter that much. If but it's always important. With that being said, it's always important to maintain a decent enough GPA on your resume, because of course, so these are like your primary courses. All right, you applied in your university. This is your major, and when recruiters see the percentage that you've got scored in this university and your work elsewhere, they would also see that okay, this was your primary work, and you need to be like, you need to give it a little thought, and you need to work on it a little too. If you, even if you're working outside on different projects and different things, and even if you just know everything apart from basically your course content, so they practically have this in mind. And so maintaining a good GPA would be like 8 or 7 would actually be pretty cool, considering that companies don't value it that much. But just for the sake of it, it should be a decent enough one. So
Yeah.
that's what I.
Mhm. Okay, interesting. And I believe now I just have one more question. Since you have done these things in the tech space, you must have some regrets. Like everyone, everyone has these regrets that I should have done this or I should have done this differently. So, do you have any tips or any advice for future software developers from your experience?
So the best advice that I can give to the software engineers would be, like software developers would be, who are just entering the field within their first year, probably in their second year, like be as involved as possible. All right, there are tons of activities and there are tons of opportunities available there for you. And before you think about, okay, I get wanted to get into my dream company, you have like 2 years of your university. Just don't waste those 2 years. Just go
Right.
ahead, different things and experiment and see like what's your forte, what you like to do, what things are, what basically what drives you the most. And so another advice would be that always try to learn something new and don't be afraid to just ask questions. All right, so your seniors, they've been through that phase. Everybody has been through that same exact phase that you've been in, and they were as lost as you are. So but they found their way and they know answers to a few questions. They can help you out with that one. So I'd say just keep basically asking questions to your seniors, keep the conversations going, and whenever you're stuck somewhere, feel free to reach out. They would have one advice or the other, and they would actually help you a lot. And another advice would be this was basically would be for actually to, for women in tech, and I suppose preferably, but applies to all, that don't forget to get out of your comfort zone and apply to different opportunities that you see. So there was this one time when in our WTM retreat that we were in I Am Remarkable session, and in that session, at the beginning of the session, they started and they started the conversation, and they said that, all right, so here they basically one statistics that you probably don't know, and that statistic is that whenever you see a job application, people generally basically men generally apply to those applications if they just meet like 80% of the criteria, but women don't apply even if they meet like 100% of the criteria. And that was like a really true statistic. And that is something that actually was like, all right, yeah, that's actually fair. So whenever I see an application form, and even I'm 100% eligible, I don't know about other people, but yeah, still question my abilities and I don't apply to that. But if
Mhm.
you think about it a different way and just consider, okay, or for 1 second, that all right, it's just something that basically is not basically stopping you from applying to different things and trying out different opportunities, then that is something that we work on first, and then go ahead and put yourself out there, try out different things. That would be some advice that I'd like to give to all the women there.
Awesome. That's wonderful advice. Okay, and that's all the questions that I had. Now we will move on to the Q&A. I see a lot of questions. We'll take all of
Yeah,
them. Yeah, we'll
I
answer them. Uh-huh. We'll answer the questions, but before we do, I just want to know how many of you guys are here for the first time, like on the channel, attending a live interview. Just let me know, type in me or I am new, whatever. I just want to see who are the new faces here. So we'll take a minute and yep, then we'll begin with the Q&A. Just type in me or I am new or hello or whatever you want to type in.
yeah, thumbs up would be nice too.
Yeah, anything, just be new one. Awesome, man. It's always good to meet new people. Like I absolutely love seeing new people like every weekend. And this interview series, it's a weekly thing. Like we do it every Sunday or sometimes on Saturday, and I also upload weekly videos. So to all of those that are new, I want you to do two things for me. One, subscribe to the channel. Like there's so much content, and every single week we're going to bring these interviews. So you wouldn't want to miss them. So subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any videos. And for the people that are new, we have a private WhatsApp group where we share different opportunities, all the updates about YouTube, and it's an amazing place. We have these conversations. If you want to join that group, make sure you send me a message on Instagram at iSwiftShake. You can probably see it on the screen. Send me a message, tell me you're from today's interview, and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. No problem. And with that, I believe let's continue with Q and A. Like enough with marketing. Well, yeah,
I
we'll
actually
begin.
love. Yeah, you
We'll,
have an amazing YouTube channel with tons of content there, and I would actually recommend a lot of my friends to apply. Basically, subscribe to your channel too, so that they get weekly updates for everything.
yeah, thank you. And guys, see, you've heard it. Now you just have to. And okay, let's begin with the Q and A. So just give me 1 second. Yeah. All right. So first, can you tell us more about MLH fellowship, how to apply and how to choose projects?
So MLH Fellowship is basically a new program that MLH just started, and this program has tons of opportunities for developers. This program was basically started keeping in mind for basically it was like it's a rough year for all of us. We are mid of a global pandemic, and uh, a lot of so many people were actually losing jobs or their offers were being revoked, and so MLH started this fellowship program keeping in mind that okay, people can intern and work at a fellowship program and can learn something new and can basically utilize the summer to try different things out there. So this fellowship program basically you can there are applications on a rolling basis, and right now the first cohort is almost about to end in like just a couple of weeks, I suppose.
Mhm.
And that program you can apply to their application form, fill out that form, then you have a series of interviews, and after that you get selected for that program. To choose projects, I would say that there are tons of other opportunities. You can obviously think about your tech domain, the domain that you're comfortable in, or something that you'd like to learn once you're in the fellowship program, and something you have a good background in. So once you're giving your interviews and choosing your projects, just remember about that. It would be it's actually a great experience if you can just go ahead and try out different things and see different projects that are there, and then make a informed decision of which one do you want. But every basically every cohort the projects would be different, and it would give you a ton of opportunities to actually connect with people from all over the world and see what everyone else is working on too.
Right. Okay, next, what are the best practices to learn and follow in the domain of native Android development?
So I would say that I started with referring to the Google Docs that were there for Android application development, and they are pretty well versed. You can actually have a look at them. Apart from that, I referred to a few blogs. So whenever I'm building an application, I did not focus on the application as a whole. I focus on my feature first. So this is the feature that I want to implement, and what's the best way to implement that feature? And I just try and find out different resources for that. There are tons of medium blogs available. So just keep on reading those articles, be updated, see what's new in the field of Android, and then try and implement that in your application. There is always multiple ways on which you can implement a certain thing, but the best way would be to actually go ahead, find out, and there are also review articles which actually give you a review on this is better or that is better or which one should you choose while implementing that. So focus on the feature and then find out what works best for you.
All right. Next, thoughts on Flutter development.
So this is like a very like this is a different question altogether. So Flutter development, I worked with one application for a little while in Flutter just to try my hands at how this development works. It's actually pretty cool considering that it works in Dart and it has tons of advantages over the native Android. It's and also of course it is a cross development basically framework, so it helps you with Android and iOS applications. But for that
Mhm.
also like I would prefer Android just because I've been comfortable with for a long time. But thoughts on cloud development would be try it out and then find what your perspective to it is. So if I have to build an application right now, I'd preferably start with Android just because I'm comfortable with it and not because of the other reasons. I'm open to trying out new things. So I tried my hands at one application and I'm still learning in that particular field. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, that's how it should be. Like, just try it out, and if you like it and you want to dive deep further into it, then go
Yeah,
ahead. And then also again, it depends, like cross platform versus native, that's a whole another topic of debate. But
that's
then again,
yeah.
yeah, it
You can
depends
do a
on like,
whole.
mhm. Yeah, it depends on what kind of project or what kind of product you want to build. It depends on that as well. It depends on what's the time constraint, like how much time you have. So there's a lot of factors. But yeah, it was good to hear what you think about Flutter, and definitely try it out, man. It's wonderful, and Google is doing amazing job on new things
Yeah, they
which you will get to
actually
know.
they provide a lot of good documents and frameworks to actually implement this
Yeah.
particular. Develop applications in Flutter, and that's actually it's like their top priority right now. So they're introducing a lot of applications which can actually help you learn Flutter and courses to learn Flutter too. So it's pretty
Right.
incredible.
Okay. Next, what's MLH?
Abhishek,
Any in one line or two lines, like anything. I guess
so
this guy told you.
MLH would be Major League Hacking, which is like a global hacker community whose mission would be to empower hackers, and they actually aim at providing a good learned experience and an engaging experience for everyone at a hackathon, and basically improve the standards of hackathons altogether. So they provide you with a lot of opportunities and resources to organize your hackathon if you want one, and then basically participate in different local host workshops or maybe organize one too. So I myself host a dip workshop every weekend because they have tons of amazing resources and incredible stuff there. And hosting those workshops actually helps me engage with the hackers and help them learn something new every weekend. So we basically work on developing those workshops and then presenting those to the attendees and help them learn it in a beginner friendly way so that everyone can learn something new and amazing thing altogether starting from scratch.
Yeah, and yeah, totally. And in really short, to summarize all of that, MLH is like they organize one of the best hackathons, and if you see the word MLH associated with any hackathon, it's going to be kick-ass. Like it's going to be really amazing. That's how I would
Yeah,
put it.
not to brag, but that's true.
Okay, so were you also into competitive coding?
So, Girish, not exactly. Competitive coding, so it's like a different domain altogether. Basic DS and algo structure, basic DS and algorithms are what helps you in your interviews. But competitive coding is an altogether different field. So I was more into development stuff. So I tried my hands at Android application development. But there are tons of people who basically involve in competitive coding, and that's actually a personal choice that you can refer to. So whatever you feel would be more interesting to you would so that is something that you can prefer, of course. But for interviews, competitive coding is not asked like on a very deep level. They focus on the basic things that you know already know.
Yeah. How to start from first year so that I can get into FANG from being I. So how? What's your answer to this?
So basically, so firstly, being in a tier 3 college doesn't actually affect your chances into getting into FANG or any other company if you like to aim for that too. The thing that you need to keep in mind is from first year, start by learning a programming language because that is a must. You need to understand the basics and the implementation of one programming language and understand how things work and how you can implement basic data structures in that particular language. Focus on that, then get into development and stuff and build basic projects. That's all right. You need to not go deep dive into every other thing. But I would say that you should attend community events and network with people who can actually give you referrals or can actually guide you on how to get into your dream company from that. So, firstly, focus on learning and developing your skills because that is most important thing in your first year, and then focus on basically taking guidance from the seniors and probably people from the community. And you can also refer to Abhishek's videos out there. He's tons of videos on personas of XYZ Intern. So you can just focus on which company that you're aiming at and then find out, okay, what's the best practice that they follow to get into that company. And once you're done with that, there's obviously tons of other resources that you can refer to practice and understand the different, basically practice for your interviews and stuff. And then if you want to get into that, that's how you can obviously do it.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, again, if you want to increase your chances by 10% of getting selected in one of these FANG companies, you should subscribe right now to the channel. Not even 10, like 50%, man, just do it. Okay, next
Yes,
question. How can someone join hackathons in USA?
So hackathons in MLH is a company that's based out of USA, and they organize tons of hackathons every weekend. So there are like 2 or more hackathons there every weekend for you to participate in. Just keep a lookout on their website. That's mlh.io, where they post about different workshops and different hackathons that they have coming, basically coming in for the weekends. Plan according to your dates and just go ahead, have fun, and try out different hackathons. If you are organizing in hackathons, be sure to, you can always ask MLH for help, and you can apply to the website to be an MLH hackathon.
Yeah, and really like the difference. How can someone join hackathon in USA versus hackathons in India? You just have to apply and show up. So go ahead,
Yeah,
apply, and if it's in USA, well, now it's probably going to be virtual. But once the situation improves and the visas are back on track, then definitely apply and then get your visa on time. And yeah, go ahead. Okay,
I
how?
so miss these in-person events and hackathons. Like they were so much more fun than these virtual ones. But yes, we're trying our best to do it. Yeah.
How can someone know about hackathons all over the world?
I think I covered that in the previous question as
Yep.
well. But yeah, you just,
mlh.io. Go visit
yeah, just
the
go
website.
ahead, visit, and find out about different hackathons. There are other websites as well where you can find about different hackathons which are not from MLH, but basically under MLH, I suppose. And you can try, if you want to apply to those as well. You can just find it out about them.
Yep. Okay. Next, I believe. Is there any difference in hackathons in USA compared to India?
Yes, of course. So there is a lot of difference that I found out once I visited a hackathon in Singapore, and then I compared it to the hackathon that I organized in India as well. So, firstly, the most important difference would be in India, we focus on demos a lot. We focus on, building a project in 24 hours and then asking every hacker to just go ahead and demo on stage, which turns around to like 3 hours long demos, which makes people a little more, basically they're awake for 24 hours. They don't want to sit for another
Yeah.
3 to 4 hours hackathon demos. All right. And the difference, this is the biggest difference that I've seen. And this would turn out to be a lot of monotonous because it's all based on your pitch to understand what project you've built. But the difference in hackathons in USA or in any other part of the world would be that in those hackathons, they implement the science fair way, which is actually pretty cool. So in the science fair way, what they do is quick hall, and they allot each team a table where they can set up their project and be ready for their pitch. And then mentors and judges, they roam around, and hackers also roam around and basically see different projects, what others have built, what they have built. They show that, they pitch that, and that is actually very. I think that is an incredible way to actually experience the actual hackathons that are out there. Since in these science fair hackathons, there's always the possibility, of having a good conversation with the team and engaging in a good conversation with them to understand why they built that project, how they built that project, what was the motivation behind it, and what was the basically technical difficulties that they overcome in those 24 hours. And those stories are what actually matter the most when you think about, judging a hackathon or probably being at a hackathon in general, and, inspiring stories to look up to. So that is a difference which I've seen in
Mhm.
Indian hackathons and US based hackathons. And we like I try to implement the science fair way in my hackathon whenever I can. This is one of the biggest difference that I've seen. Apart from that, I've seen that people in US hackathons, so basically folks in US hackathons have a community-based programs in which whenever they organize the science fair hackathon way, they create a community altogether out of it. And then next year when they apply again, they ask them to basically rejoin. So this was something which was, I've not seen a lot of Indian communities basically reaching out to
Mhm.
their members to, come back again and join. But this people are catching up to it. And I've seen Indian hackathons basically trying out these things in their hackathons as well.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely talked about the difference. And totally, Matt. I agree with that. I went to Hack Junction last year. It was in Finland, and I have to say that these hackathons, like compared to India, they are totally different. Like the experience is like it's totally different. It's a whole different experience. But then again, like the crux is same. Like it's hackathon, but I would say since if you're in college, man, try everything. Like apply to hackathons in India, and also apply to hackathons in US, Europe, outside of India. It's amazing, like the whole experience. And meeting different people from around the world. That's super cool.
Yeah, and even though if you're applying in India right now with MLH in India and expanding in the APAC region altogether, we have these type of hackathons in APAC region too. So if you're applying in a hackathon in India as well, and that's an MLH based, you probably find the same. We're trying to implement the similar structure
Hmm.
in India, trying out different things too, which actually fit in with the regional diversity of India as well. So keeping
Right.
both of these in mind, we are trying to create a hybrid sort of structure, which actually has done wonders in our hackathons previously, and we hope to do it a lot more effort in that.
Yep. Okay. Next, an interesting question: I believe, is spending time or money on college worth it?
Yeah, absolutely. So college gives you a lot of like it's like your own little space. It's like your space where you can actually learn and try out new things. So this is like your first space where you learn and grow and talk about different things. So it gives you a first network of friends, and then of course college life would actually be much more important and fulfilling once you start learning and get enrolled in different college. Of course, it is. I'd say it is.
Yeah, yeah. You'll hear some people say that don't go to college, degrees are worthless. But really, if you think about it, I mean, okay, maybe degrees don't matter, or in the near future they are not going to matter so much. But college really teaches you a lot of things that you wouldn't get to learn otherwise. And obviously, like the experience of college, meeting with people, and
And
it's
building
really,
amazing connections, like
yeah.
that is something which gives you first hand at college. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. Totally. Okay, next. Should I start with AI ML just because everyone is doing? Because personally, I'm not that much interested in it.
So don't do it. If you're not interested in a particular field of technology, just don't do it. Try it or something else. There are tons of other opportunities and tons
Totally. Like,
that you can apply to. So if you're not interested in a particular field, just try out something different. I'm pretty sure, so technology is such a diverse field that I'm pretty sure you can find something that you like to do. And AI ML, just because everyone is doing it, basically that would be a herd mentality. Just don't, if you don't have much interest in it, just don't do it and try out something different. Because when I started with it, I was not very interested in AML, though it is fascinating to me. But I was not interested in just deep diving right into it at the beginning. As I said, that I did the 3 tracks to figure out that okay, I want to start my career in an Android application development, not start with AML. Basically, a lot of my friends were actually going for the AML side, but I wanted to do something different, so I did it. So just if you're not
mhm.
interested, go ahead, try out something different and try out something else, and then you can of course basically go from there. So if you're in the field, you find that okay, AIML is of interest to you, and not just because it's like the most talked about the stream, it would actually help you grow a lot more in your career than anyone else.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually relate to this question because when I was in my first year, I believe, I was also like, man, everyone's doing ML, AI, and data science, all these different crazy stuff. It was a big hype back then. And so yeah, what I did was I just tried it myself. Like you won't know until you don't try. So I always say you have to explore things. So explore all these different things. If you like AI ML, do it. And I actually spent a few thousand rupees on some resources to learn ML. But then I was like, nah, man, this is not for me. I'm out. And then I switched to I believe some other field. So yeah, try it out. If you find it interesting, do it. If you don't, just don't do it. Next, MLH fellowship versus GSOC. Ooh.
Okay, so this would actually be your personal preference, I'd say. But MLH Fellowship has different programs and different, basically different projects, and GSOC has an altogether different projects and a different structure as such. It's not entirely same. It's different in many aspects. Like for instance, in MLH Fellowship programs, we would basically help out our fellows to understand to basically prepare for their interviews as well. So we actually help them with the communication skills and stuff. That's what our coaches do. But apart from that, they are keep working on those technical projects, and we've seen a lot of positive response with MLH fellowship programs considering the structure that they're in. So it is an altogether different program, MLH fellowship and GSOC. It would be something of your own personal preference and something that basically just don't focus on the tag name, just focus on the project that you're interested in to do, I would say.
Yeah.
So just find a project which you think that is the best for which is your own personal fit, and then apply to the program that you would like to be a part of.
Right. And Yash, I believe he is currently working in GSOC. So that's why he maybe wanted to know how is MLS different.
Probably.
Okay. Uh, so I believe that's all the questions we had, guys. If you have any other questions, please type in right now, or the links to connect with Sashrika are in the description, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. So go follow her, connect with her, and yeah, if you have any questions, go reach out to her. She'll probably be happy to help you.
I would definitely love to help everyone.
Yeah.
So I actually engage a lot of time to actually help out and advise different people. I have my LinkedIn filled with different messages, and I try to apply basically offer my help to each and every one of them, advise different folks if they want to learn about my experiences. I'm still in my finished my third year, so I just finished my third year, and I'm not basically done a lot of work, but whatever I've done, I'd love to help them out with that if they wanted to apply to that.
Yeah, that's really nice of you. Okay, and I believe we have one last question, so let's take that. The question is it compulsory to go with someone to hackathons in US, like with
So
your group?
actually it's not that compulsory, so if you go ahead and if you're just a newbie who would like to explore hackathons and you don't have a team, that's all right. There are tons of people there who don't have a team and they're there to explore, try different things. So just go ahead, participate, and there are team building activities at the beginning of every hackathon. We at MLH also have those activities as such, where we basically all the people who are there to in pairs or maybe as a single person who basically have to apply, and they're there to find a team as well. So
Mhm.
we have to pair up and then find basically people from different domains, and folk they're these folks, they're very friendly, so they you basically make your team there and then apply to the hackathon, and it's actually an interesting weekend because then you get to hear about their stories, their perspectives, and
Right.
everything, and you build a project together. So basically you work toward the same goal, and everyone is like in networking and engaging with in that particular front. So it's not necessary to go with someone, but even if you're alone, you'll always have someone there right there because it's a big community and it's an incredible community.
Yeah, and Amarjeet, totally, man. Like I would choose to go alone, go solo, because it's wonderful making team right then and there, and networking with people, talking to them, getting to know about them, and yeah, it's amazing. But then again, if you feel more comfortable with going with someone like you, since you're going to go abroad, and if you're not much of a traveler, then it's you'll be more comfortable with going with someone, but that's for you to decide. But don't be afraid. It's amazing experience. If you want to go and participate in these hackathons or these worldwide events, go ahead, and good luck, man. Definitely you'll get in easily. It's a piece of cake,
Absolutely.
just believe in yourself. Okay, so I believe that's all the questions, and I guess it's been what's the time? It's been almost 1 hour. Wow. So, guys, thank you for asking all these questions. Now, if you have any other questions, feel free to message her. All the links are in the description. And now we're all full with these tech-related knowledge. Let's now start with a rapid fire round, I believe.
Oh
So,
God, I'm not
yeah,
sure if I do well at that, but all right, let's give it a shot.
it will be really easy. I'll give you some really short questions, and you'll have to give an answer in 2 to 3 seconds, like really simple. Okay,
No
nothing too.
pressure.
All right. Okay. So first question, pretty simple. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. I'm a big dog lover, so dogs,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. 100 days without phone or 100 days with no in-person interaction?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Like 100 days without phone would be like it's just without phone, or
Yeah.
I don't get my laptop even, like no technology whatsoever.
I mean, yeah, yeah. No tech or no people, basically. What would
I'd
you
say
choose?
no human interaction. I can't leave my laptop.
Okay. All right. Describe yourself in one word.
One word. Um, I'd say I am. Well, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure what to. Okay, all right. One word. This is a tough one.
Anything, whatever comes to your mind.
I'd say I'm helpful. Yeah.
Okay. DC or Marvel?
Hmm. We're just going to start a war here right now in the comment section. All right. I'd say that for movies, I'd say Marvel. And if we're talking about TV series, I would say DC.
Okay. iPhone or Android?
Abhishek, your video. So I'm talking
Yeah,
about Android
the
a lot. I just go here and say Android because my forte. Like that makes a lot of sense for me to just say that.
okay. If not tech, what other field can you see yourself working in?
So when I was actually choosing basically a non-med and between other fields, the two fields that I had in mind, if I was not in tech, I would have been a foreign diplomat of sorts, basically, going out and just
Yeah,
handling foreign relations or something.
cool. That's good. Okay. Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
Okay. Okay.
And
If you
by
could
that I
take
mean
one person out to dinner, dead or alive, who would it be?
one person out to dinner.
Yeah.
Um, I okay, all right. So I'd say if I've already been to a lunch with him, but I'd love to take basically go on a lunch with Mike Swift. That's the CEO of MLH again because we had an interesting
Mhm.
conversation, and that was pretty good. So I'd like to
Okay.
go again. Yeah.
All right. And now, last and my favorite question: $1 million or 1 million followers? What would you choose?
I'd say I'd go for $1 million because once I have $1 million, I can use it to create impact, and that impact would like actually draw in many followers. So
Hmm.
yeah, taking a wish,
Interesting.
getting
Okay.
free. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And now, before we sign off, do you have something to say to Sashrika 10 years into the future? Like anything?
So I would say that all right, Sashrika, you need to just slow down a bit or like take a break once in a while, and then go ahead and just chill out and basically. So basically, I know that 10 years down the line, even 10 years down the line, Sashrika would love to travel as much as Sashrika loves traveling right now. So
Uh-huh.
if you take time off your work and just go ahead and travel, go ahead and do it. Just don't worry about anything else.
Awesome. And yeah, I'll take this clip and send it to you 10 years later. So be ready for
I
that.
All right. And once I get this clip, I'm going to pack my bags and I'm going to leave.
Yep, definitely. Okay, and I guess that's all for today's interview. Thank you everyone for being with us. It's wonderful, and thank you to Sashrika for again sharing these things, sharing your experience and knowledge with us. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, for having me. It's been like a pleasure. This is such a great initiative that you're hosting. And absolutely, if people have not subscribed to his channel, you should because these series are actually what will help you understand and gain deeper perspectives in different companies. Even I watch all those personas of different companies that I would like to know today.
Uh-huh. Yeah, guys. All right. So that's all. All the links to connect with Sashrika in the description. So go do that. And yep, that's it. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you on next Sunday, I guess. Stay happy, stay humble, and have a beautiful day. Bye bye.